Innkeeper on the outside, then Simply Optimistic and Dexalation. Innkeeper has turned back to Cox in the one girl. He wins by a length to Dexalation.
A little bit of a vitals check. DK, you're with us.
I am. I'm here. Dusted myself off. As I was just saying to Johnny, we're used to it as punters. Resilient. You mean there's just no other way. Just dust yourself off. You've got to get up and you've got to go again the next day. And if you get knocked down and do your ass again, you've got to get up because there's no. What else are we going to do? You've got to do it. So no, I had a good night's sleep. I was in bed. I went to bed with the kids last night. Made sure I was fresh because I knew today was a big day. And yeah, so I'm here and I'm fresh and I'm ready to go.
And what about you, Johnny? Fresh legs?
Mate, I just feed off the energy of the man to my left. So it's a never ending in here, really. Day 3 at the MCG and we're back at it.
We've got our backs against the wall. We started with 123,000 in our kick at the start of the Warrnambool Carnival. Not much has gone right at this stage. We launched $10,000 worth of bullets into the Hong Kong meeting last night. We had a bet into race 4. We're back to a horse called Moonluck. It went like a rocket. It settled back in the pack. It wasn't a bad ride from Zach, but just the pattern and the way that they were racing at Happy Valley, it made it nearly impossible for it to win. But it was an absolute flashing light run. And then a couple of roughies looked like they were in the wrong race in race 7 that we launched at there. But in race 9, wow, Alexis Bader was too smart on the winner. He just made Matty Poon work far too hard on igniting in the last race. It was a cracking ride, wasn't it, Walt?
Yeah, just used it up enough early, sat on it, and just let it do all the work and tracked it everywhere it went. It was sick from about 200 out. You kind of knew if it had any sort of kick left, we're in trouble, but ran well and found one better unluckily.
Gallywood Day and Wangoom Day yesterday at the Bull. It was a fantastic win by the Statesman on that drying track. I think it was probably a little bit too dry for Instigator. My horse Britannicus was brave, but I just think he lacks a turn of foot to knock those horses over 3,200. He's a bit of a one batter. It was a great ride, Aaron Lynch, but what a great story, Brett Scott, DK.
As I said, there's always something in our sport, and it's one of the reasons we love our sport. These sort of results pop up time and time again. I mean, they say there's nothing like an owner passing away. They're not saying this about Brett Scott, but if if the owner's horse is in on the Saturday and he dies during the week, the horses are moral because it's just the gods and the just the way the sport works, and it was just wonderful to see. Brett Scott's had a horrible time of it, and to watch that horse come out and win for him yesterday was really special,
And we just heard Innkeeper on the show opener, the finishing stages there in the Wangoom, and Simon Wild, we talk about him a lot. I've got the Wild racing cap on, but his record in training horses, he can train them for the Grand Annuals, he can train them for sprints. He's turned Innkeeper around. The horse was gone.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. And then the track work rider, he let it ride at Terang, Luke Williams, said, we'd been trying lots of things, and we think we got this horse back. And the way the line at Terang said he was in for a. There's no surprise that he won yesterday and was well backed. But I'm going to keep harping on about it. The bloke's good. I love him, Simon Wild. I know you got a horse with him, but I haven't. But I bet in a lot of the areas his horses run at, and he does it with $30,000 horses. He'd hardly have $50,000 in his stable that would have cost, and he competes. He makes the top 10 in the. He was always in the top 10 trainers. So no, great trainer.
Mate, and I thought we fired a late rocket. We had Nick Our Spur into C. Marie, a double, 16,500. We tried to launch to that $85,000 mark, but Rick McIntosh, I tell you what, he's calling his guts out. He's been shouting for a couple of days, and
careful what you say. You won't. I don't want to hear anything against Rick.
We're the opposite.
We're the opposite here. There's people just going absolutely on the attack on Twitter, and I tell you what, if you got your claws into Rick McIntosh on Twitter, you need to delete your account. It's ultimate trolling. He's made one error over the carnival. And,
just trying to get the last favourite home, just trying to cheer something home for the punters. That's all he's trying to do.
He's made one mistake, and I tell
he's
you
had
what,
it in his back of his mind that you could see what's happened.
Exactly.
They practice stuff for the finish. What are they going to say in the last 50 metres? And it just got to the front of his head.
Exactly. I think he'll bounce back strongly today, Rick. And he's an absolute champion of the sport, and especially for Warrnambool. He does so much good promotion.
Potting race callers is just something I hate. And I've got mates who do it and things like that. I pull them up all the time. It's one of the reasons poor Terry Bailey, who we know well, he's a terrific bloke, Terry. He's a punter, he's a good bloke. He had to sack Twitter because all the diggers are all getting into him, thinking that if he calls the wrong horse, it's going to change the result.
And he's a good judge of a horse, good judge of looking at the parade.
Mate,
He'll throw up a
he
few
is.
interesting things
He's a
every now and
punter,
then worth
and
following.
he bets. He's a good fella, but he had to give up Twitter because all the diggers getting into him when he gets a race call wrong. Which, who cares? Like, you watch the race, it's not going to change the result. We all knew Corner Pocket was in front yesterday. You know,
Yeah,
Nick
got
Esper
beat.
was 6 lengths off it. It wasn't that I was coming at it.
100%.
Anyway, it's just a pet. It is just it does grind my gears. People plotting race calls because we got the best race callers in the world. Go and listen to the bloke calling the Kentucky Derby the other day. You know, it was just compare that to Matt Hill calling the Melbourne Cup or Darren Flindell calling those Group 1s in Sydney the championships. We're so blessed with race callers here.
The other big issue to come out of yesterday happened over at Murray Bridge, and again, Stacey Metcalf is human, so I don't think she should be hung out to dry for this one. But
Hadn't been flying over there. Like she was in the wilderness riding maybe around
mate,
Rildry and all
she
that.
was an auto pen job in. She came up to Gosford and she was riding in sort of my area, the Hunter of New South Wales, and really struggling. And down there found a new lease of life.
Yeah, absolute flying. So she made a bad. But we were right watching that race, weren't we? You can go. What'd she do, Scoot?
We can just we'll queue up the replay here and we'll put it up on the screen so everyone can see. She did the right thing. She pushed forward, and it was a really bold front-running ride here on Exalted Maxine.
And a Grant Young horse, he must have said, "This is the fittest. This is a really fit horse. Just roll and run him ragged."
She's done absolutely everything right, and Walt
looks good here. Like you're doing everything right, and then what is that?
just misreads where the winning post is. I think she saw the end of the red tape there at the corner of her eye, and instead it's the green finish line there for Stacey. So I think she'll learn a lot from that, and it's an interesting one. If it was a senior rider, would they have got the same sort of penalty?
What kills me is that if she had hung on, she would have got a slap across the wrist or something. I'm not saying like 2 months is probably fair enough for what she's done, but they've got to knock it out of the sport. So it's well and truly fair enough. If it was a senior rider. I know if it was in New South Wales, they'd be definitely taking it to appeal for severity at the very least, and they, whether they got it reduced or not. But that's probably got to be the precedent. Something like.
I think it was
I think
four. I think 4 weeks might have been a bit light. Maybe 6.
6, yeah. I reckon that's probably what it would have got knocked down to at home.
There's no. You could see there's no. It's just he's just made it blue.
No malice in it.
Malice,
it's just a dead set. Right, but it's something that they have to knock out of the sport. Riding horses out, especially a horse like that that's led and done work, kicked or what. You've got to make sure you keep them on their job.
Credit to I go through all the stewards' reports, obviously, as you do with your post race, and Victorian stewards are red hot on it, which great. There's always one a meeting. They're giving a reprimand or finding someone. So you last couple of strides you didn't push that out. Just last couple of strides, not like that, but just 20 metres.
Yeah, there was a fine on Hawkesbury Saturday, I think, for finish 6th or 7th, one of the riders, for not pushing it out.
So the stewards are generally, which is good to see. We want our horses, especially for the punters, they've got to, and the owners, everyone, they've got to be pushed right to the line.
I think she'll come back strongly after.
She's going good, Stacey. It's great, Anyway.
Exactly. We've got a big show today. It's the first time we've gone live. So if you've got any questions, throw them into the YouTube chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. But we've got Morphettville up first. We've got Johnny Kelton joining us. We've got the SA Derby and Size Produce this week. We've got the Wagga Cup and we don't have the Wagga Cup, but we do have the Wagga Cup, don't we? We've got the Wagga Cup, and we've got the Takeover Target at Gosford. There's a fair bit of rain about, so Johnny Walter was with me last night. I don't think we left the office till about 9:30, and Kembla Grange has been abandoned today, so we've probably just wasted 4 hours yesterday, Walt.
Yeah, what can you do? We would have wasted another 6 hours on Kembla on a heavy track anyway, so it's probably saved us time in the long run.
And then DK, he's going to preview the Darren Gauci handicap with Ayrton, and I think he likes race 7.
There's a few likely races. It's good, those last 3 races at Caulfield are for the 3-year-olds up and comers, so a lot of those horses I sort of know from coming through the grades, so we can have a look at that.
DK was happy to preview any race except for Warrnambool, so he's happy to go for the fresh form at Caulfield. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get John Kelton up on the line. But we're big thanks to our sponsor, puntingform.com.au. They have got 200-metre sectional time splits for Australia, Singapore and Hong Kong. They got class benchmarking and a great black book service. Find your edge and support puntingform.com.au. Up next, we'll talk Adelaide with John Kelton. And look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host Scoot. I've got DK and Walt live, and we're going live, and we've got Johnny Kelton. We've got Eagle joining us to preview the big SA Derby meeting in Adelaide. How are you, Johnny?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Yourselves?
Hello, Eagle.
We could be better. We're just hanging in the fight. It feels like we're in a real, just a scrap, really. We can't really land a blow. We're still on our feet, and we've got the final day of the bull, but we're enjoying it nonetheless. And I guess it's a little bit typical of the punt. Not every day's a day that you can just see them out of the middle. But we definitely think that we can still do a little bit of damage. We've got enough bullets. We've got plenty of ammo for sure. How have you seen the first couple of days?
It's been good to watch. Probably the track seemed to change around a bit in the last hour or so. The last sort of 3 or 4 races yesterday, it was playing very leaderish before that, but probably after that innkeeper race, it just switched around a bit. And then in the last, either the last or the second race, the leaders were really wanting to roll well off the rail.
I think the track's held up really, really well. DK?
Well, just going back to that, where was the race yesterday? Strathhelve, Murray Bridge.
Murray Bridge.
Eagle, what do you think of the what they gave Stacey Metcalf? Did you think
2 months? 2
months was fine. And what do you think about the 4 200-1 chances taking on Victory Bandit?
Yep. I wasn't overly impressed with that. The Stacey Metcalf penalty, it's probably, it's probably hard to give her much less than that. It was pretty blatant. It was obviously just a bad error from her. She has been riding well, and I'd hope she'll come back and continue to ride well after her suspension. But unfortunately, you probably have to cop the 2 months on the chin for that sort of ride.
Yeah, hopefully it can bounce.
I had something on Bolt I Am, so I wasn't too unhappy about the whole thing.
There you go.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to back multiple runners in a race, that's for sure. Now, the big meeting over there in Adelaide this weekend is SA Derby, so there's some interesting placements here, and there's some interesting market moves early. But the first race that we're going to have a look at is the Size Produce Stakes, and that's on the Parks track as well. We've got odds courtesy of topsport.com.au up on the screen now, and we've got 3 Kings a favourite at $3.20. We've got Cloudy $5. We've got Biscayne Bay $5. Caracasoo $6.50, Forever and a Day $9, and El Rocco $12. And the replay that you've asked us to queue up here, Johnny, is 3 Kings. It's finishing stages of its last start. You
get Biscayne Bay in this as well, because Biscayne Bay runs second. So you get a few horses. El Rocco's also in this. So this is the lead up from Flemington.
So we'll queue that up, and you can talk us through the finish here, Johnny.
Yeah, well, 3 Kings was quite well ridden there, probably just held up for a stride or two, but apart from that, had a good run in the race. Biscayne Bay in that race drew quite wide. That's it in the red cap, making ground. But Biscayne Bay ended up settling quite a way back in that race due to its wide gate. They've both made their runs together and have hit the line with nothing between them. I would have thought the form reference out of this race is reasonable enough to assume it's going to put these horses right in the finish. Biscayne Bay on Saturday has drawn 3, and even though it hasn't taken a spot in its previous starts, I wouldn't be surprised if it can settle a fair bit closer this time, which it really needs to do around this Parks track. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to mark it narrowly favourite in what is a pretty even race in front of 3 Kings and Cloudy. Cloudy, I'm probably not completely sold on 1400, but it's got the right rider to give it every chance to get the trip, and it's drawn to box seat. So around the Parks track, that's a big advantage for it. So I'd have to concede it's got a strong winning chance as well.
Any thoughts there, DK?
Yeah, I saw it similar to Eagle. I thought the Flemington horses had the run at 1400, and of those, Biscayne Bay gets the much better draw here. And yeah, they did have soft runs. There was a soft, Cloudy and Caracasoo, they did sort of rail and add soft runs over that 12. I sort of maybe would have preferred they had a bit more testing runs to be more confident that they get the 1400. So yeah, I think the Flemington race probably has an edge over the horses coming through that Adelaide race. But yeah, it's quite even.
Yep.
$5 seems a backable price if the people want to step in at topsport.com.au. The next race we're going to have a look at is the South Australian Derby. We've got odds again up on the screen courtesy of topsport.com.au, and Explosive Jack, a horse that Walt will know a little bit about, $3.80 into $2.80, Lequero at $4.80, Personal $7 into $6, and Deep Strike $8, and you can get big odds the rest. The first replay we're going to have a look at is last week. It's the Adelaide Oaks, and a big story, Chris Calthorpe training his first Group 1 winner there with only 5 horses in his stable. Fantastic effort, and here's Personal in the Coolmore colours, steaming down the outside. She's hard ridden here, getting scrubbed along at the back, under the stick, got the big white baldy face. She's on the back of the winner, Johnny.
Yeah, it's I found this race and the Chairman's Stakes that Royal Mile and a few of the other participants come out of. I think they're reasonable form references without being super. But what I like about Personal is it's run the trip before. It was quite strong to the line in this Oaks race, and it's also on the 7-day backup. And the fillies in the Derby don't have a bad record. One of them won it 2 years ago off a very similar prep running in the Oaks the week before. So I'm quite happy to back Personal in this race. It's drawn wide, but it'll just mean it's ridden the same way as it was last week, and I think it's got a real strong chance in this race.
What did you think of Explosive's Jack win in the Derby?
Strong. I think it was high rating from memory, and I know it come from back in the field there, which I guess is what the query here and the weird. But I don't think I've ever seen an ATC Derby winner back up into an SA.
It's bizarre. Also,
I don't think I've ever seen it. So.
They've got a big arsenal of 3-year-olds. Stays.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise winner there, but wasn't a flattered win or anything like that. It was a strong win. So
no, they became Lequero. They've all been coming through they come through the Bendigo race and things. So the form's fine, you know. And like I said, got a good arsenal of 3-year-olds. Can I just go back a step, Scoot? Just watching Media Award there. Can I just say something? So Chris Calthorpe. I reckon he had maybe 2 winners from 120 runners, right? And then that horse goes like it does. And I watched the Bendigo jump outs the other day, and he gets horses at the Bendigo jump outs. And I said, what? And they jumped out well. So straight away I said, why? He trains at Geelong. So I'm thinking someone with Media Award, something's changed anyway. And then I see these horses, says, what's changed? And then I look at his training establishment. He's now got a second base, 8-year rower. And it just shows that there's always a reason. There's something. I'm looking for it as a punter. Say why something's changed with what he's doing or things like that. And that's just little things like that can he might be doing something with Lindsay Park and they're letting him use the training establishment. I can't think of anywhere else up at Yarra would be training out of, but he might have done a deal for transporting their horses or doing something, you know. So just thought that was interesting.
The other replay we might queue up is Royal Mile in the Chairman's handicap, and Johnny Kelton, you can talk us through the finish here. That was the other key lead up in your eyes.
Yeah, it's a lead up where a number of the horses come through. That's Royal Mile in the purple and black colours leading. I thought Royal Mile had a pretty decent run in this race because when he found the front, he was surrounded by 300 or 400 to 1 chances that were right behind him. It's Deep Strike in the Rupert Lee colours with the gold cap that never gets out midfield. Royal Mile is a real tryer, and he keeps finding the line, but he's by Dane Rich and he's going up to 2,500, so he's got to be some query at the trip. And Deep Strike's another horse that I'd have to give a strong winning chance to, just based on the fact he never got out there and his previous form was very strong. So I thought Royal Mile was still half a chance in the race, but I'm thinking he might have done his best this prep, but I'd definitely conceded a good winning chance to Deep Strike.
Around the $8 quote, you can just forget he went around.
No, he's one of mine. I got the staggers. I laid it on him first up, and this thing kicked 6 in front of it on the turn, and it reeled it in because he's got a big back end to his races. Reeled it in right on the line. So it serves myself right. Gave myself a heart attack for laying it on as usual. Look, I'm just worried that has he had enough of a hit out? Now you've seen that. He's been held up the whole up the straight. Yeah. Second up, I think it was second or third up at 2,000. Is that enough of a hit out for 2,400? You know, but he is a bit of a cold spring, you know. But they're 3-year-olds and they train them to be fit these days, so you know that'd be my only concern. But he's the one. He's the obvious one. There.
He's got a big jockey change too, MD, and then Damien Lane jumps on.
Jamie Lane jumps on.
So which we've been speaking about for the last couple of weeks.
And he's got the SP as well. You know. Yes,
Yep,
no, so I'd be go.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, you're taking a bit of a punt that he's going to be fit enough and run the trip out solidly. But D Lane jumping on. D Lane's very good at getting horses to settle. So you've got the right rider on board to try to get the trip with.
Yes, and with John Kelton keen to play around personal, and DK also giving a little bit of a push, deep strike. I think the 280 at Top Sport is something that you don't have to rush into for sure. Any final thoughts?
Mate, I've never had Mr. Kelton on the line before. I just wanted to thank him on behalf, put him on the spot, thank him on behalf of all traders out there in all establishments with no ability, like myself at Bet Easy back in the day. And I sort of kicked off his platform and was able to have children and a house and things along the line, all off the back of him just having a bet every now and then. And I think Mr. Fletcher should thank him too, because his computer lit up like a Christmas tree every time Mr. Kelton had a bet with Bet Easy back in the day. So
did we love those sharps or the hots back in the day?
That was good fun.
A lot of steam chasing. It probably wouldn't be music to John's ears, and it's probably...
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Thanks for joining us today, Eagle. Hopefully we can get a hot one at the Bull out of you today, and best of luck on the weekend. So that's Biscayne Bay in size produce, and he likes personal and deep strike in the Derby. Thanks Eagle.
Good luck. Cheers.
Yes, boys. Good luck.
Big thanks to topsport.com.au. They're family owned and operated for over 35 years. Big sponsor of our show. Bet with a bookmaker you can trust, and bet with topsport.com.au. We're going to take a break, and it's going to be Johnny Walters' time to talk Wagga Cup and the takeover target on a pretty wet Gosford track this Saturday. Welcome back to Bet Doctor Behind the Curtain look at how pro punters operate. And I tell you what, you've been getting a lot of that in the live bulldozer, and Johnny Walter has been burning the midnight oil. We've survived on a takeaway diet. He's sampling Melbourne, or South Melbourne's finest Uber Eats at the moment.
Vegetarian options.
Mate, fish.
Oh, fish and rice.
He's on the green diet.
Fish and rice, like seriously. Fish and rice. Like, I love fish. The rice goes with stir fry, mate, not fish.
Mate, please. Us parkies, we eat what we can. We eat off the
Parkies,
floor.
you keep going back to these
we eat
parkies.
cockroaches, we eat yams, whatever you can get into.
Now, tomorrow we've got the Wagga Gold Cup. It's Wagga Town Plate Day today, so anyone in the bulldozer will get all our action there at Wagga. But it's a 2-day carnival. It's a cracking carnival. Never been there myself, but you've been there a few times, John.
Been there many times, many times. Done my ass many times. Had a few victories, but great place, great couple of day carnival. There's not many left, so hopefully they continue to look after it, because it is a good time down at Wagga for the couple of days.
We'll have to get a stream going on Wagga Cup Carnival one day for sure. We've just got to get through this one
big.
first.
Yeah.
3 by Wagga 3 by Bull straight into Wagga. Seriously.
They'll let us on track there, don't worry about that.
It's North Korea, so maybe that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But
No.
let's have a look at the Wagga Gold Cup market. It's a 2,000 metre race, odds courtesy of topsport.com.au. We got Yonkers 360 into 340 coming off that wet track. Interesting little setup here from Caulfield. Paths of Glory, who wasn't a bad run last start, $5.50. Spirit Ridge $6. We've got Inverloch $8.50. Bit of DK about this one. Mr. Marathon Man, $9.50. The Lord Mare, $10. And the replay that Walt has asked us to get here is 2 starts back. It's the run of Spirit Ridge against Sir Dragonet here. He's in the white colours here, leading the field up, getting pushed out. Johnny?
Yeah, so this is a very different race, obviously. I think it was a Tancred, wasn't it? So the weight for age, and who's the horse that beat Sir Dragonet race away? I think Sir Dragonet had probably 2s on in a race of this nature, and obviously level weights there. He went to a Sydney Cup after this run. That's why not really worth showing that run, and that is the query coming back to this sort of race off a Sydney Cup effort. But they took the blinkers off in the Sydney Cup. They go back on today. They're taking Robbie Dolan off, which I think is as significant as the blinkers, and Nash goes on, a huge tick. Rolls forward, that little query of the 32 back to 2,000, and it is probably a solid query, but what price were we getting? $6? Something around that.
$6.
Something around that, and I see this horse sort of pushing forward, and he's going to be there for a long way with Nash pushing him out and the blinkers back on.
He only got beaten there by Sir Dragonet by 3 lengths. And
3 lengths.
He looked sort of gone at the turn, and it was a Herculean effort there just to keep boxing on. So he's got the residual fitness, and I think it's a really good read of that race. And
you'll get the others in there, like that Yonkers. He's had a sat and a sit and sprint, but he's had conditions his way.
It was a Mickey Mouse race, even
was.
Nico Noonan said himself.
And that all that form, I think, with all due respect, the Tancred and these sorts of weight for age forms a little bit more solid, and the other horses have all sort of had their chance or things against. And this horse, I just, not knocking Robbie, but that you just Nash on these sorts of horses that get up on speed and battle away, down the straight at Wagga. I can't see anyone really out punching him.
Didn't let us down on Sweet Deal last Saturday at the Hawkesbury meeting, $4.20 into $2.90. So if you tuned into Walt's action last week, I think he made a meal of it himself, but he also declared Golden Gorge. So definitely one to watch there on Friday in the Wagga Gold Cup. Spirit Ridge at $6. The next one we're going to have a look at is Saturday at Gosford, the Takeover Target 1200 metre race. We've got odds courtesy of topsport.com.au on the screen now. We've got Senior Fox $2.80, Easy Eddie $3.20, Enchanted Heart $4.40, Snit $6.50, and Grand Piano $12. Not too fussed about the next in the market, Catsby at $20 and Luna Mia. But the last start replay here, Walt, that we're going to have a look at is Enchanted Heart.
Is it? No? That's not Enchanted Heart. No, that's in your Fox back on the inside. That's fine. That's a good lead up because there's a couple of runners in the race. That's definitely not Enchanted Heart. Yeah, this is cool. So that's Senior Fox in the white back on the fence there. Easy Eddie in front. Easy Eddie's had a really pretty soft time of it, really. Splintex sits outside him and beats him home. This is good form. Signore Fox was a little bit plain for mine. Sort of he went back to the inside there, but he does have like sort of a sharp turn of foot. So this sort of race would have suited him. The big difference from these horses to Saturday at Gosford is going to be a testing track. It should be down the middle, and I'm thinking Easy Eddie will sort of get a bit of company up on speed. Signore Fox will definitely get to the right part and get his chance, but sort of 59 and a wet track are the queries for him. And the horse that you were mentioning there, Enchanted Heart. 2 things I love about this horse is it's got 1400 metre form. It loves the wet. Perfect setup from a fitness perspective, 11, 12, 12 again, but does have the query of pulled up 1 out of 5 lame last start, was a bit soft late. The horse that beat it there, Lost and Running, I'd be backing it to win this race comfortably. So the 2 little negatives are like it gets into this race about 3.5 kilos heavier than it should have if it was a pure handicap and it was in at the weights, and so that's a tick for Signore Fox. But I think at the value, I think Enchanted Heart ticks a lot of boxes here, and the queries, the price outweighs the query. So I'm with it, just the way I think the race will be run, and Signore Fox is probably the danger, but he's short enough.
And I think if you go 5 starts back, there's a horse called Ellsberg that it knocked over. Yeah. Enchanted Heart carried 60 kilos and...
incredible price first up, so all the SP players will probably be a bit frightened by a 20-1 win first up, but when you're seeing a 2-1 win over Ellsberg, carrying 60 kilos against Ellsberg's 52 there, Great News is very good form in the start after, then Edison's very good form, came back, beat Lost and Running, And then obviously last start something just wasn't right there, and the track was certainly in the favour of the winner there, Lost and Running. So forgivable of that, and back on a wet track here with a solid tempo sitting right behind it. Jade Collett loves to stalk. Hopefully he puts the left blinker on, not the right, and everyone will be happy.
I think Keithy Married in the chat has just posted up Luna Mia with the big bold eyes.
Well, I haven't got its handicap rating, but Luna Me's only getting a kilo off it. It raced in a benchmark 78 last start, 56.5. If I was smart enough, what's that? 3.5 kilos, so that's 71. It should be getting about 15.5 kilos off the top weight, and it's getting 6. So it's entitled to be odds because it's got a huge handicap hurdle to overcome before anything else. But it is a talented horse, but just I couldn't find it.
Not at that price. I think Keithy tipped up a $34 winner, so
it's
he
hard
may
to
have.
I said that to him yesterday. What a legend! And only sat outside leader, bashed him, went away, and just won like a 2's on pop.
Absolute hat tip from New South Wales formulas for Keithy on that
Big
one.
time.
Mug Punter's asking us about another race at Gosford, but dead set Walt's got through the coast race.
He's not talking about food for once.
I tell you, the reason why we covered that race is because I think it'll be the least affected by scratchings. You've got so many horses doubling up in the Gosford and Wagga and everywhere. They're Brisbane, they're in everywhere. So that was the race that probably should be least affected by scratchings.
DK?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good.
North Korean racing. Yeah. No.
Can't wait. There's just so many races, and as you guys know, we've been hard at it for the last sort of 5 days. It feels like we're just Groundhog Day in here, but big thanks to our sponsor, puntingform.com.au. DK uses it, Nico Noonan loves it, I swear by it. The Black Book and database solution is just fantastic. You can't delete all your notes, they just sit up in the cloud privately. Try Punting Form today, and who knows, we may even get Johnny Walter to be a convert of puntingform.com.au too. We'll take a break and we'll be back with Caulfield with our man DK. Welcome back to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host Scoot, and we've got Walt and DK live. We just don't sleep here, we just eat, bet, sleep, repeat, and we're having an absolute ball in Little Birdie headquarters here. It's Caulfield on Saturday again. It's going to be a cracking day, or cracking weather in Melbourne. I'd love to be up at the terrace. We've made a meal of that. We should have just booked a table to blow off a bit of steam post-bull.
We did, mate. We'll have to plan that better next time. That was great up there when we went up there last time with Darcy and
Tyler.
Mate, he's told me the checkout time's 9 a.m. I expect you to be out by 8. So see you next year.
We'll be betting DK out wide. We'll kick back into gear in the next couple of days.
And Donald, I think Donald the duck on Saturday. We'll hopefully find something with Donald.
Smash, and we'll be betting. So we'll be in the bunker again.
Wodonga tomorrow.
There's just so much racing.
Black shorts.
We're going to talk Caulfield now. Race 7, the 2,000 metre open handicap. We've got
3-year-olds?
Yeah, for 3-year-olds. We've got the odds courtesy of topsport.com.au up on the screen now. Horrifying. It's felt a little bit like that in the first couple of days here in the stream room at times. $3 favourite, Redwood Shadow $3.80, Ruba $8, My Squeeze Louise for Dennis Pagan $8, Red Santa $9.50, and much better the rest. The replay that DK has got me to put up here is that of Redwood Shadow and Horrifying.
Yeah, that's right, which is good.
At Flemington last
start.
start.
It's great to have you line them up because they both race each other like the the race in Adelaide with Biscayne Bay and Three Kings. So they're out the back here. They both drew poorly and went back. Redwood Shadow sort of a length behind Horrifying. Horrifying's got the orange cap there, just getting the outside. Our Lone Star, who was a DK out wide tip in its maiden at Werribee, went straight to town and won this. She's got a bit of upside. And they're the two getting home for, I think Redwood Shadow gets into third. Yeah, so they're lining up. They're both stepping. That was 1,700. They're both stepping out to 2,000 here. Horrifying had an edge on Redwood Shadow in that race. It was third up in that race. Redwood Shadow was only second up. Redwood Shadow is proven at the 2,000. Ran a close fourth in the Norman Robinson, the Derby lead up in the spring, with horses like Hit the Shot, who I tipped in the Derby. Nice horses like that. So it's proven the trip. It gets Blinker's first time, which I like as well, and it gets Yendall back on, even though Jai didn't do anything wrong there, but Yendall sort of knows his horse really well. So I just thought there was enough. Look, Horrifying's got J Carr, it's going to be, it's going to be thereabouts. It's obvious favourite and things like that. But I just thought there's enough in Redwood Shadow to bridge that margin of whatever it got beaten there a length, and to turn the tables coming up in this race. Ruber I thought needs further. Red Sanders coming off a good maiden win in fast time, but he's going from 1,500 to 2,000. So I thought the right, whilst they are sort of midfield run-on jobs, they did look to be decent speed in this race, and I thought they'd be rounding up, but I thought Redwood Shadow would be the strongest at 2,000.
Jai McNeil, I think he's up at the Gold Coast on for Hollandale Stakes Day, so he might be just going up for a little bit of freshen up and picked up a couple of rides before he goes on holiday. He might have a couple of good chances up on the Gold Coast, but we'll talk about that more on our new show, Bris Vegas, with Johnny McLeod and Tom Henjack. We're going to record that one tomorrow, so the Brisbane show will be a day late, but we're definitely going to preview all the key feature races at the Gold Coast tomorrow with the MacBet team, Tom Henjack and Johnny McLeod. The last race that we're going to talk about at Caulfield is race 9, the Darren Gauci handicap. What a beauty he was. We've got the odds courtesy of topsport.com.au up on the screen here. We've got Ayrton from Roll the Dice Racing, who are just having a purple patch there. Friends of the show. $1.65 into 160. Ayrton. Curran $9. We've Got Yulong Command $12. The Big Easy $14, and Winsome $16. I did see that Mick Price was quite bullish, I think, on 927 this morning. They're expecting a really prominent showing here.
Well, it won't be. I mean, it's $1.60 and the punters are going to be playing you. That's what I said. The commentators ask the traders when they've got a favourite, how do you think it'll go? What are they going to say? You want them to say?
When they ask the question, because I listen. It's not where we want it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mind them asking, because it depends who it is.
Is it a little bit soft?
No, but the trainers...
Yeah. Like, we've got something more in mind down the track, then you do start looking for gaps and cracks in the armour. But I know what you're saying. I know they're never going to go, 50 to 1 chance, are they? Otherwise, they're idiots for running.
We're just going to queue up its last start win. I think it put the field away by about 4 lengths, and Jamie Carr continues to ride.
As I went like a dead set rocket in its maiden at Bendigo, and then it went here this day and went like a rocket again, and then they put it away. They're going to have a go in Brisbane off the back of this few runs, and then head to the spring. So look, this could be the most, the 3-year-old stocks are light on, and this could be the most promising 3-year-old, definitely, that we've got down here. So this is, he'll have this run. He's trial good at Echuca, took him for a trip away. He's had a good jump out, I think it was last Tuesday, on his home deck. He's going here, his first up run's the only time we'll see him, then he'll go to Queensland. Looks like he's going to the Fred Best, which is a win and you're in for the Stradbroke. So that looks the plan. Look, and the thing here, I think Mick, they'd like him to follow some horse, like a follow a horse, something like that. He's sort of been getting up the front. And he's got an absolute designated leader here in the Yulong Command, who was really gutsy up in front the other day. I mean, took Curran, just reeled it in late, and they ran pretty good figures there, but you'd think there'd be a rung below the talent of Ayrton, but he'll get a good head out of it. He'll probably sit outside Yulong Command, and you'd expect him to run past him and kick off into the Brisbane Carnival. Like, we think he's the top 3-year-old down here. Then he should take care of these. But Curran's getting really deep into its first prep, but had a terrific prep. And Yulong Command, like I said, they ran pretty good figures the other day. So they'll give him a race, which will give him a good head out to head up to Queensland. But you'd think he'd be taking care of him, Scooty, wouldn't you?
I would have thought so. It was a pretty soft win, but yeah, don't know. A race like the Stradbroke, it might just come a little bit too quick for him. But
Oh, it could be. That's it. I mean, Private Steer or something did it start 6 or start 7 or something, and it'll only be start 5. But 3-year-olds, rapid improvers. What we see? So you think when a Cox played at start 5 or something like that? Didn't I know?
Yeah,
But
not out of the realms of
not out of the
possibility.
realms. And Mick Price did say there is a plan B, that the Gunsynd race or whatever it is, if they don't think if it's a bit too much of a step, and they're going to bring him back for the spring anyway.
There's plenty of races. If you've got a good horse, you're probably going to run out of horse before you're going to run out of good races, aren't you, Walt?
Bloody oath these days, my God.
There's so much on offer. Now, we'll for the live show, we can't put up the Top Sport big bets on the screen, but we'll put them on when we tidy the show up for the later edition. But the big bets that Tristan's reporting there is 7,000 on Harder Poissons at $5. They laid that pre-post in the Warrnambool Cup today. It's now into $3.50. It's been 4 into $3.50 since final field. There's been a bit of a move for Ladonda V, who needs the drying track there. It's been 11 into $6 in the same race. There's a massive move for Gallic Chieftain too, $26 into 10. So the Harder Poissons is an interesting one. It's going to be in the coffin, barrier 1. It could be buried right back.
Yeah, late in the carnival.
DK will find it.
What do you think, DK?
Oh, it's great. It was alarm bells for me. Like I love the short SP up in distance. Like it was too short for it the other day. It was a mess terrain. But yeah, and there looks to be 2 of that horse from what he did at Warwick Farm and then what he served up at Terang. But you know, he does want the 23.50 every inch of it, I think, and that's why stepping back a little bit at Terang didn't really suit him. But and just on Gallic Chieftain, it looks a set play. Like they take the blinkers on and off that horse. You know,
Blinkers on's a
third
good one.
up, blinkers again. I was just looking at him. It's just 4 starts, the blinkers come on, the blinkers come off late in the prep or first up, then they go back on. So it looks a set play for him.
And it gets a dry ground as well, which is
the drying track, won't hurt him. Yeah, and he's best as we know. He's
good enough.
That's a good run. I mean, they're now with all these imports. I mean, they're all coming out of good for races. You know, they really.
If that form from Sydney is Warrnambool Cup form, I'll be very surprised. It would want to be bouncing off that old Heart of Poissons. I know I put 4.5 on them.
4.5 on them,
but Dundee Lee. Ooh.
It comes through an okay profile race. The Terrain Cup's not a bad leader, but again, he probably should have put the field away if he's going to justify his short quote there. I'd be probably leaning the way of Ladonda V and Gallic Chieftain in terms of value bets, and even Manhattan Made. I thought
Ladonda V will be the leader, and it did have a gut buster the other day, but they've given it the 33 days, good stable, given it plenty of time to get over it, get a softer lead today. And Gallic Chieftain's one I'd be interested in. But particularly if they put up 30s, but I know it's taken care of now.
The SA Derby is the other big bet early. Oh, it's not a big bet, but it's $1,000 at 7 personal. She's now into $5.50. And there's a couple of bets up in Queensland. We're going to talk about them in more depth on tomorrow's Bris Vegas show. That's 50 stars in the Hollandale Stakes. That's race 8, number 1, 950. Walt and I had a little bit of a look at that race last night, and wow, it should be the Living Legends race. There's a lot of old horses that you'd think would just be retired. It's unbelievable once you get to race 8 at the Gold Coast. We'll let Johnny McLeod figure that one out. And then in the Guineas, we've got race 7, number 2, rocketing by 1,000 at $6. So interesting little plays there. There are winners that come from those Top Sport big bets, so make sure you jot them down and just see where the money continues to go there. That's a wrap from us from Bet Doctor. We've got through the first ever live show, and we'll catch you next week. But we'll be in the ball. We'll
catch you in about 10 minutes.
I think we'll turn the show off, and in half an hour's time we'll be into day 3 of the bull. So let's turn this $90,000 into a big, fat, juicy profit. Thanks, guys.
We're going to go down swinging. Don't worry about that.
Good to have you back, DK.
We'll be right.
Thanks, Walt.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.